An update on last night's police standoff.
And how safe really is Pullman? Murrow News 8 starts now.
Public Broadcasting Studios on the campus of Washington State University. This is Murrow News 8.
Good evening, I'm Sophia Canton.
And I'm Zach Miller. Welcome to Murrow News 8.
A man is in custody today at the Whitman County Jail after a 3-hour standoff. The Pullman Police Department and the Whitman County Regional SWAT Team reported to the 300 block of Northwest Robert Street around 1:30 p.m. to follow up on a domestic violence incident. The suspect, Daniel Spears, surrendered peacefully at about 3:58 p.m. Spears is being held at Whitman County Jail without the option of bail.
According to the Daily Evergreen, Washington Attorney General's office is conducting an external investigation into WSU's former provost's allegations of gender bias. Faculty Senate Chair Greg Crouch informed the Faculty Senate yesterday that President Kirk Schultz ordered the investigation right after he found out about it. The Senate's discussion was around former Provost Mitzi Matoya's emails regarding gender bias. According to CREM, 5 people who have tested positive for the coronavirus are being transferred to Sacred Heart's Medical Center in Spokane. The staff at Sacred Heart are trained to offer the safest, highest quality of care for their patients. The hospital's special pathogens unit is prepared to treat patients with the infectious disease.
According to Cairo 7, a woman in Olympia has tested positive for the coronavirus. Marianne Obenchain was tested by Japanese health officials on Saturday when the U.S. government evacuated American citizens off the Diamond Princess cruise ship. She was so surprised when the results came back positive because she was not showing any symptoms.
An Idaho woman is facing felony child abandonment charges and is expected to appear in court today. After being arrested in Hawaii, Madison County in Idaho issued a warrant for arrest of Lauren Vallow, also known as Lauren Daybell, after her 7-year-old son and 17-year-old daughter have not been seen since late September. Vallow and her new husband, Chad Daybell, fled to Hawaii after they abandoned Vallow's minor children and delayed law enforcement's attempt to locate her children. Vallow must be extradited to Idaho to face her charges, which is a process that often takes weeks.
A new study shows Pullman is the 6th safest city in Washington state. Murrow News 8 reporter Caitlin Rappel shows us some features on campus aimed at keeping students safe.
Topic among university students. I decided to meet with Assistant Chief of Police Stephen Hansen to find out what sort of safety features WSU has in place.
And then I look at it from the standpoint, what can I learn from it? Why did it happen? How did it happen? What can I learn from the lessons they did on how did they respond? Did they do things well? Were there some things they could improve on? And what can I do to make sure if it happens here that we have we respond well to it?
This emergency station is one of the many safety features here at WSU. It's geo-based, which means that when you press the emergency button, your exact location is sent to the dispatcher and emergency personnel are able to respond.
We have a bunch that are implemented. We do a whole bunch of outreach and training. We have officers that are assigned to every residence hall and stuff, so they can go in and do programs that are specific to that residence hall, whatever they would like to hear from. My captain and I, we do a whole bunch of the active shooter response trainings and stuff. Then we have officers out on patrol, out on bike and out in the cars. We have an intern program or cadet program. They're out on foot quite a bit, and they'll do escorts and things like that.
Well, I think it's really nice when I'm walking home from studying at night, like by myself when it's dark, and how accessible they are. It just makes me feel safe on campus to know that people are there if I need it.
We do our best to be out there and interact with the students and stuff, and just because you call us and say, hey, this is going on, we want to educate folks and say, hey, this probably isn't safe to do. Or if you see something that you're not sure of, we'd much rather go take a look at it and make sure it's safe than have it turn out to be something catastrophic.
Caitlin Rappel, Murrow News 8.
City Councilman Brandon Chapman tweeted about a new downtown plan that could mean increased lighting on the way from campus to Main Street. On the other side of town, Murrow News 8 followed a student who doesn't feel safe on their walk to apartment land. Reporter Jane McDonald has the story.
You never know what can happen, and nothing bad has happened so far, at least in my experience. By the play fields, it's always really bright because of, their big stadium lights and whatnot. But almost everything past that, with the exception of like the market, there's almost like no light at night.
This is not how someone should describe heading home, but for Colin Boyle and hundreds of other WSU students, this is just a part of their routine. North of campus are dozens of student apartment complexes, commonly called apartment land. For Boyle, living in apartment land has been great. Getting there is another story. It's winter, it's under construction, and it's dark. On a given day, Boyle stays on campus until 10 p.m., walks past Beasley, and is walking over a mile uphill to head home.
So why aren't students using the buses? It seems easier, seems safer, and they go to apartment land. Why walk in the dark? Well, if you miss this bus, you'll have to wait another 40 minutes for another to arrive, meaning you will be left in the dark.
Walking from apartment land to campus or vice versa is just, at least where I live, is just kind of a trial. It hasn't really gotten easier for some reason, and I kind of don't like it, so that's why I'm kind of considering moving.
There has been talk of improving lighting in apartment land, but to see that change, you would need to talk to a city official. Jane McDonald, Murrow News 8.
Coming up, we'll get an update about yesterday's power outage on the south side of campus.
And we'll learn about new Barbies coming out this year when Murrow News 8 returns.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Yesterday, a part of campus lost power for 24 hours. Murrow News 8 reporter Lucy Fasano is joining us live from Gannon and Goldsworthy Halls with more on the story.
Hi guys, I'm here on the south side of campus where yesterday we had a 24-hour power outage. It started at about 7:25 on Wednesday and went until 7:30 p.m. on Thursday night. As you can see, some of the buildings around me were affected by the power outage, including Flicks and Gannon and Goldsworthy. Some students were without hot water and electricity to cook food all day. And as you can see behind me, we are restocking some of the products for Flicks that may have gone out of date because of the power outage. Operation Manager for Electrical Light Safety, Ryan Goering, said a faulty high voltage cable under Stadium Way caused the power outage and included 6 buildings to go completely out of power for about 24 hours. That's all I have. I'm Lucy Fasano, Murrow News 8. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Lucy. The power is now back on in Gannon and Goldsworthy Halls.
Students at Kennedy Catholic School are planning a protest. According to Daily News, last Friday, students and parents were sent a letter from the school informing them 2 teachers, Paul Danforth, an English teacher, and Michelle Batty, a soccer coach, had voluntarily resigned from their positions after announcing they had married their same-sex partners. Many of the students plan on doing a walkout Tuesday because they feel the teachers were forced to resign for being gay. According to CREM 2, 3 Gonzaga students who had the teachers said they were shocked by the resignations and only had fond memories of them.
After a passionate plea, surveillance video that captured a deadly police-involved shooting was released late Thursday afternoon. The family of the victim of a 23-year-old paraplegic man by the name of Malik Williams had been calling on investigations to release the video. The surveillance images were released by the Valley Independent Investigative Team, who is leading the investigation into the shooting involving the Federal Way Police Department. Williams' family believes what happened in that parking lot should not have cost their son and brother's life.
A woman accused of plotting to steal a newborn baby has officially been charged. Prosecutors say 38-year-old Juliet Parker schemed for months, posed as a photographer as a woman of the scam. Officials say her 16-year-old daughter was also involved. Documents say the woman and her daughter laced a cupcake and gave it to a woman in hopes of stealing her baby. Parker pleaded not guilty Tuesday after bailing out of jail. Prosecutors argued she was a danger to the public and asked a judge to up her bail. The judge then raised her bail to $150,000. There were about a dozen women who say Parker either reached out to them for free sessions or that they had already met up with her. Coming out of Good Morning America, Barbies will be releasing 5 new sports dolls that reflect the 5 new sports coming to the Tokyo Summer Olympics. The new sports include baseball, softball, sports, climbing, karate, skateboarding, and surfing. The Barbie Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 international line is slated to come to stores this spring.
After the break, Ariel Yakabazi will go over this weekend's weather.
And what state bills will still be considered when Murrow News 8 returns.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back.
When you want to talk, I'm here.
According to the New York Times, intelligence officials warned House members that Russia is trying to interfere with the 2020 election and try to get President Trump reelected. Last week's briefing warned that Russia planned on interfering with the primaries as well as the general election. People familiar with the situation said President Trump was angry at the warning and felt that Democrats would use it against him.
According to the Spokesman Review, Washington State Senior Senator Patty Murray said she is not endorsing any of the Democratic nominees at this point in the political race. She said the only candidate she cares about is the one who can beat Donald Trump. Murray is fine backing whoever becomes the Democratic nominee.
According to the New York Times, New York's Attorney General is seeking $810 million from the city to help struggling taxi medallion owners. The state's Attorney General is accusing New York of committing fraud by artificially inflating the value of yellow taxi medallions. The city issued permits required to own a yellow cab. Attorney General Letitia A. James is saying the city must provide financial relief to the taxi medallion owners within 30 days or she will sue for fraud, unlawful profit, and other violations of state law.
Victoria's Secret is getting a new owner, and owner of L Brands, Leslie H. Wexner, is stepping down as their boss. L Brands announced Thursday that it is selling a majority stake in Victoria's Secret brands for $525 million to the New York equity firm Sycamore Partners. L Brands plans to retain a 45% stake in Victoria's Secret when the deal closes, which is expected this spring.
The children's product manufacturer Colcraft is recalling 51,000 inclined sleeper accessories to prevent the risk of suffocation. There were no reported incidents or injuries with the Colcraft products, but infants have died in similar products made by other manufacturers. Colcraft is offering a partial refund or voucher on its website.
It's starting to look a lot more like spring. Here's Ariel Yacobazi with the weather.
Thanks, Zach. It was a beautiful morning and a beautiful day out here on the Palouse. We did experience about a high of 47 and a low of 32 degrees. Sunrise was at about 6:45 a.m. and sunset was about 5:30 p.m. So days are getting a little bit longer and we should be expecting that. We had about a 7-mile-per-hour wind, but that didn't affect us much. Heading into tomorrow, we are looking at some more sun, mostly sunny, a bit more partly cloudy with a high of 49 and a low of 33. We're looking at 11-mile-an-hour winds tomorrow, and so that'll bring in a little bit of a chill. So make sure you have your jackets, your gloves, and just any warm clothing would be great. Sunrise will be at 6:45 tomorrow morning, like it was today, and sunset will be at 5:30 again. Heading into temperatures across the state, our friends in Seattle and Olympia are experiencing some warmer weather than we are at about 50 degrees for the high and about high 30s for the low. But they are a little bit cloudier over there. They did experience some sunny weather this week. However, it is going to be a little bit cloudier over there today. So heading into the middle of the state in Yakima and the Tri-Cities, we are looking at a highs of 40s and lows of 30s. So that means that it's going to be a little bit warmer over there as well, but a little bit cooler than on the west side of the state. They are experiencing some cloudier weather over there as well, but it is a little bit cooler. All right, heading over into Spokane and Pullman, we are looking at highs of 45 and 47-ish. And lows of 30. It is a little bit sunnier over here, but it is also a little bit chillier, so make sure you have that warm clothing on you. Moving into the next couple of days, on Saturday and Sunday, it is going to be a little bit cooler, and then on Sunday and Monday, we're looking at some snow and some rain. We're about 60% chances of precipitation. Mostly rain though, so not too much snow, about a ½ an inch. And then heading into Tuesday and Wednesday next week, it should clear up. But heading into the next couple of days, just make sure you're staying warm. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Ariel. This week in Washington State Legislature, Washington State might lose one of the ferries on the Anacortes route to Sydney, British Columbia. Lack of funding for the Elwha ferry might force the boat to retire from service. Anacortes Mayor Lori Garrett said in a statement that, quote, "The reduction in service would be devastating to this community," end quote. If the Elwha is retired, the only one ferry that will be able to make the international crossing would be the Chelan.
According to
the spokesman, WSU would get a pilot program to train nurses on sexual assault examiners. The funding for the proposal is allocated in the legislature's supplement budget this month. Advocates for this program say it could help Eastern Washington, where hospitals, particularly in rural communities, have limited staff trained as sexual assault nursing examiners.
The Tiffany Hill Act is moving through state legislature. According to King 5, the Senate bill was created after Tiffany Hill was killed by her estranged husband. The bill is for a law that would give restraining order recipients phone alerts if the person in the restraining order comes within 1,000 feet of them. The bill has been endorsed by a committee and is now on to the House Rules Committee. Despite the bills to ban standard capacity magazines failing to meet the crossover deadline, anti-gun legislators are playing around in an attempt to bring back this legislation. They introduced the House Bill 2947 with a similar feel as the previous bill, with the only difference being a change in deadlines. The House bill specifically bans the manufacture, possession, sale, and transfer of magazines that hold more than 15 rounds of ammunition.
Washington State has lifted the flavored vape ban. Our very own Lucy Fasano has more on the story.
Lawmakers have lifted the ban on flavored vape products. But to prevent younger generations from buying them, Washington State has a new tobacco and vapor law, which only allows people 21 and older to purchase such products. Other vaping companies have been coming out with disposable vapes that have about 250 puffs in one product. Also, more flavors have been added, which entices the youth. Massachusetts is suing the e-cigarette company Juul for allegedly hiring young models and advertising their products on youth websites.
I'd say that vaping in its whole is targeted towards everyone, but they definitely they catch the eyes of the younger generation because of the colors they're using or even the flavors. Like, there's vapes that come out now that they advertise Sour Patch right on them.
A local spot in the heart of Greek Row, Bob's Corner Market, is stocked and ready to sell to students over the age of 21 so they can get their nicotine fix.
According to the Journal of American Medical Association, mint is the #1 choice of teens who vape nicotine. But with all these new flavors to try and the colorful packaging, young adults are enticed to try something a little fruitier. In Pullman, I'm Lucy Fasano, Murrow News 8.
When we come back, Asher Line will take us through everything happening in Pac-12 basketball.
And updates to the U.S. Women's National Team lawsuit when Murrow News 8 returns.
You can achieve a lot using your imagination. I don't like to brag, but... Wait, who's that? And why is she all over these achievement awards? But with STEM, the sky's the limit. Shaboom! Use STEM to envision... Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah! Invent...
Got any ideas?
I've got a few, actually. And create a better world.
Told you she's super smart.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
It's okay to be scared. You don't have to be so strong.
Strength is not optional. This is my mother, my purpose. Real muscle is lifting her spirits between bedpans and bad news from doctors that doubt her strength. Strength is buried in bills, managing meds, and swallowing those moments of, Mom, it's me, your daughter. Remember? My strength is super, but I'm still human, right?
Look who's here. There she is. Thanks for your patience.
How you feel?
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community, or call 1-877-333-5885.
Welcome back to Murrow News 8. I'm Asher Line. Let's take a look at sports. WSU men's basketball team will look to bounce back Sunday against Stanford in their final home game of the season. WSU is currently 14-13 overall and 5-9 in Pac-12 play. The last time these two faced off, Stanford came away with the W, 88-62. The game will be at 5 p.m. on Beasley on Sunday. Looking at more Pac-12 hoops, number 14 Oregon was upset down in the desert, losing to Arizona State 77-72. Alonzo Verge Jr. was the leading scorer of the game and poured in 26 points off the bench. Rob Edwards chipped in 24 along with 5 threes. ASU moves up to 18-8 overall and 9-4 in the pack, half a game behind Oregon, who currently sits at 9-5. After trailing at half, 31-22, the Gonzaga men went off for 49 points in the second half, beating the University of San Francisco 71-54 to stay undefeated in the kennel. Killian Tilly led the way for the Dogs with 22 points and 9 rebounds to push Gonzaga to their 19th straight win. Gonzaga sits at 27-1 overall and 13-0 in West Coast play. They are looking to go undefeated in league play for the second straight year. The WSU women are back in Beasley tonight to take on number 8 UCLA. Cougs are looking to get out of a 3-game skid while the Bruins have won 4 out of their last 5, with the only loss being at Oregon. Tip-off is tonight at 7 p.m. in Beasley. And be sure to watch out for some special throwback jerseys. Cougs will be wearing 1979 throwback jerseys in honor of National Girls and Women in Sports Day. Oregon women's basketball forward Satu Sabali has announced she will forgo her senior season and declare for the WNBA draft following this season. The junior is averaging 16 points and 17 rebounds a game. The Ducks are currently 24-2 and first overall in the Pac-12. WSU baseball kicked off its road trip to Hawaii with a 6-2 win yesterday, moving them to 2-3 overall. They have 3 more games against the Rainbow Warriors in Hawaii, as well as a road trip to Rutgers before coming back to Pullman for their first homestand of the year against Niagara. That game will be March 5th in Pullman. WSU tennis swept Fresno State 5-0 yesterday. They are now 7-1 and will head to the Big Apple this weekend to face Columbia. Match time is set for Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. According to the New York Times, the U.S. women's soccer team has set a price for the ending lawsuit. The team is asking for a grand total of $67 million for gender discrimination through unequal pay and working conditions. The United States Soccer Federation sought to avoid the possibility of a gender discrimination trial by asking Judge R. Gary Klausner to dismiss the players' claims. Although Judge Klausner may have appeared to show support for some of the players' claims, both the players and the U.S. Soccer Federation expect him to allow the case to proceed to trial. The WSU National Girls and Women in Sports Clinic is tonight. Check-in time is at 5 p.m. at the Washington State Athletics Indoor Practice Facility. Those attending the event learn skills from golf, rowing, track and field, and cheer and dance. The event starts at 5:30 p.m. The Golden State Warriors have officially announced that Klay Thompson will miss the rest of the season to continue rehabbing an ACL injury he suffered during last year's NBA Finals in Game 6 against the Raptors. Head coach Steve Kerr said he expected this given the severity of the injury, although they aren't ruling out the possibility of Klay playing for the Team USA in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. And to wrap up sports on a high note for Coug fans, WSU might be losing, but at least they haven't lost 9 straight like UW. The Huskies' most recent loss came at the hands of Stanford 72-64. Stanford guard Oscar Da Silva was the leading scorer with 16 points along with 9 rebounds. UW is now 2-12 in conference play, and ironically enough, 12 is also their place in the conference. Well, that's a look at sports. Back to Sophia and Zach at the desk.
When we come back, Macklemore has a new job.
When Murrow News 8 returns.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back.
when you want to talk, I'm here.
Oak on Main in downtown Pullman is having its first concert tonight. John and Rand Band will be performing at 6 p.m. tonight. John and Rand Band are a local band from Moscow, Idaho that performs covers of vintage classics.
Macklemore announced he will be joining the Dutch Bros Coffee Company team as its new executive director for its cold brew beverages. His contract for the company will begin in April and will go through the summer. Macklemore will focus solely on cold brew, including new flavors, products, and more.
So, you guys gonna try his new cold brew?
I think I'm gonna have to. That sounds pretty good to me.
I agree. Oh, sorry. I haven't been to Dutch Bros in quite a while, but I think I'm going to have to go back to try that cold brew.
Well, thank you for watching tonight. Be sure to watch our newscasts at nwpb.org/MN8 and on Cable 8 at 7 and 10.
Thank you for watching. Have a good night.